Have you ever felt like you're living life on autopilot, running, working, giving, but somehow never moving closer to your own dreams? Like you're showing up for everyone else, but when it comes to yourself, you're always left on the sidelines? This audiobook is your wake-up call. It's not about quick fixes. It's not about pleasing people. It's about one thing: focusing on you until you win. Together, we're going to strip away distractions, silence the noise of opinions, and free you from comparison. You'll discover how to build discipline that lasts, habits that stick, and a mindset so strong that no setback can stop you. You'll see how leaders, innovators, and even everyday people rewrote their lives simply by choosing to become the main character of their own story. And you'll learn exactly how to do the same. This isn't just motivation. It's a roadmap to becoming intentional, unshakable, and unstoppable. So take a deep breath, let go of the voices telling you you're not enough, and step fully into this journey. Because this time, it's not about them. It's about you. Before we dive in, we've noticed that most people who listen to our audiobooks do not subscribe to our channel. So do me and yourself a favor. Like this video, share it with someone who's ready to grow, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the valuable insights that will help you stay unstoppable. Chapter 1: The Cost of Not Focusing on Yourself. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever given so much of your time, your energy, and your attention to other people's needs, their dreams, and their expectations that you woke up one day feeling empty? As if somewhere along the way, you forgot who you were? This is the silent cost of not focusing on yourself. And it is a price more expensive than money. It costs your peace, your clarity, your opportunities, and sometimes even your destiny. When you don't focus on yourself, life begins to happen to you, instead of happening through you. You start reacting to circumstances instead of creating your path. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine a talented young professional who always says yes to everyone. They help with every project, every favor, every request. At first, people love them for it. But over time, they burn out. They realize they've spent years building other people's dreams while their own passions sit on the shelf collecting dust. Does this sound familiar? Maybe not in your career, but perhaps in your relationships, in your family, or even in your community. The truth is, when you do not prioritize yourself, you slowly disappear in the background of your own life story. History is full of leaders who understood the importance of self-focus. Let's look at a few. Take Mahatma Gandhi. Before he became a leader for millions, he had to master his own discipline, his own clarity, and his own conviction. His ability to change the course of history was born out of his decision to first align himself with his values. Imagine if he had lived only to please others, never focusing on his principles. The world would have lost one of its greatest advocates for peace. Another example, Oprah Winfrey. She has often spoken about how her life changed when she stopped living for others' approval and started focusing on her vision. She built a career not by following what others thought was best, but by honoring her own unique path. Today, she is not just a talk show host, but a global symbol of empowerment and authenticity. And then there's Abraham Lincoln. Before he became one of the most respected presidents in history, Lincoln faced endless criticism, political failures, and even personal losses. But instead of drowning in external opinions, he remained focused on his inner conviction, to preserve unity and freedom. Had he lived his life chasing validation, history would have remembered him as another politician who gave in to pressure. Instead, his focus on his mission defined his legacy. These leaders remind us of one thing: the cost of not focusing on yourself is far greater than the discomfort of disappointing others. In his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen R. Covey wrote, "The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing." This simple sentence carries a powerful truth. When your main thing, your values, your vision, your personal growth, is neglected, you lose direction. You become like a ship sailing without a compass. Covey's point is clear. If you do not focus on yourself, you risk drifting into a life of regrets, constantly pulled by the winds of other people's expectations. The emotional cost. Now let's get more personal. Not focusing on yourself doesn't just drain your energy, it steals your identity. You start to forget what you truly love. You confuse being busy with being fulfilled. You might look successful on the outside, but on the inside you feel hollow. Think of it like this. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with you, you are silently saying no to yourself. And over time, those no's pile up until you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. The hidden danger. One of the greatest dangers of not focusing on yourself is resentment. You give, you sacrifice, you bend over backwards for everyone. But deep inside, you begin to feel unappreciated. That resentment poisons your relationships, your work, and even your health. This is why so many people in midlife suddenly wake up with the feeling, I wasted years. I lived for others, and now I don't know who I am. But here's the truth. You don't have to wait until regret forces you to change. You can choose today to redirect your focus. Let me ask you, who gets your best energy right now? You or other people? Do you wake up thinking about your goals, or are you immediately pulled into messages, notifications, and everyone else's demands? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to focus on your growth without guilt? If your answers make you pause, don't panic. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. The fact that you are listening right now means you are ready to choose differently. Key lessons from leaders. Focus creates clarity. Gandhi didn't stumble into leadership. He trained his mind and discipline first. Focus creates freedom. Oprah found freedom when she stopped seeking approval. Focus creates legacy. Lincoln's impact came from holding on to his convictions despite criticism. These examples are not about fame or politics. They are about the universal truth that your life expands when your focus sharpens. Key takeaways for you. Neglecting yourself is the most expensive mistake you can make. It costs your peace, your potential, and your purpose. Focus is not selfish. It is necessary. You cannot pour into others from an empty cup. Your future depends on the decisions you make today. Every yes to yourself is a step toward the life you want. If you don't define your path, someone else will. And chances are, their path won't fulfill you. Remember this, your life is your story. Do not live as a side character in someone else's book. The cost of not focusing on yourself is losing the chance to live fully, to create impact, and to experience joy on your own terms. So today, make a choice. Choose to give yourself the gift of focus. Because when you do, you stop just surviving, you start winning. Chapter 2. How to Build Unshakable Discipline. Imagine for a moment that discipline is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. But if you neglect it, it grows weak, and when challenges come, it collapses under pressure. Discipline is the foundation of every success story. Without it, dreams remain just dreams. With it, ordinary people become extraordinary. Now, here's the truth. Nobody is born disciplined. Discipline is built, shaped, and sharpened through small choices made consistently. It's the art of saying yes to what matters and no to what distracts you. And the best part, you don't need to be the most talented, the most connected, or the luckiest person in the room. If you can master discipline, you can build a life that feels unstoppable. Think about a world leader who rose from humble beginnings. His path was not easy, but his discipline kept him moving forward when giving up would have been easier. He would wake up before dawn, study even when there was no light, and commit to daily habits that built his resilience. Later in life, that same discipline gave him the strength to lead a nation through crisis. This story isn't about talent. It's about the power of showing up, day after day, even when nobody is watching. Another example is a global athlete who trained relentlessly, waking up while the world was asleep to practice. Talent alone didn't make them great. What separated them from millions of others was discipline. The decision to train when it hurt, to practice when it was boring, and to keep going when failure seemed permanent. Today, we remember them not just for their victories, but for the discipline that carried them through countless defeats before they won. A business leader once said, "Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most." That simple sentence captures the heart of this chapter. Discipline forces you to decide. Do you want the temporary comfort of hitting the snooze button, or do you want the long-term satisfaction of achieving your vision? In his book The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, the author explains how habits are formed and why they are so powerful. He writes, "Change might not be fast, and it isn't always easy. But with time and effort, almost any habit can be reshaped." This is a reminder that discipline isn't about being perfect every single day. It's about reshaping yourself slowly but surely into the person you want to become. Let's pause and make this practical. How do you actually build unshakable discipline? Step 1. Start small. Discipline doesn't begin with giant leaps. It begins with baby steps. If you want to read more, don't force yourself to finish an entire book in one night. Start with 5 pages a day. If you want to exercise, don't try to run 10 miles on day 1. Start with 10 minutes. The human brain resists sudden, overwhelming changes, but it adapts beautifully to gradual ones. Step 2. Remove temptations. Discipline isn't about having iron willpower all the time. It's about creating an environment where success becomes easier. If you want to eat healthier, don't rely on willpower to resist junk food. Remove it from your kitchen. If you want to be more focused, silence notifications or set your phone in another room. Make discipline your default by designing your surroundings wisely. Step 3. Tie discipline to a vision. Discipline without vision becomes punishment. The reason world leaders, great thinkers, and athletes endure hardship is because they're chasing something bigger than themselves. They aren't just exercising discipline for fun. They're building towards a future they can clearly see. Ask yourself, what's my vision? Why am I doing this? Every time you feel like quitting, return to your why. Step 4. Embrace boredom and hardship. Here's a hard truth. Discipline is often boring. Waking up early, repeating routines, practicing skills daily, it's not always exciting. But greatness lives in the ordinary things repeated consistently. One of the greatest inventors in history failed thousands of times before succeeding. He once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of discipline, turning failures into lessons and monotony into mastery. Step 5. Reward progress, not perfection. Most people quit because they expect discipline to feel perfect. But the truth is, discipline is messy. You'll miss days. You'll stumble. What matters is that you get back up and keep going. Celebrate small wins. Did you write 1 page today? Applaud yourself. Did you walk for 15 minutes instead of sitting all evening? That's progress. Progress compounds, and before you know it, it transforms into mastery. Now, let's bring this closer to you. Think about your own life. Where do you struggle with discipline? Is it in your work, your health, your relationships? Maybe it's in building that dream you keep putting off. Remember this, you don't need to change everything today. You just need to start. A leader once said, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." That first step might look small, but when repeated, it creates momentum. Discipline is about showing up, again and again, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. So here's your challenge. Choose one area of your life where you need discipline. Define a small, simple action you can take today. Commit to doing it every day for the next 7 days. Don't aim for perfection, just consistency. After 7 days, you'll feel momentum. After 30 days, you'll see change. After 90 days, you'll barely recognize yourself. And when the world tempts you to quit, remind yourself of this. The cost of discipline is temporary discomfort. But the cost of regret lasts a lifetime. Key takeaways. Discipline is not a talent, it's a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Start small. Tiny, consistent actions are more powerful than giant, unsustainable leaps. Design your environment. Remove temptations so that discipline becomes easier. Connect discipline to vision. Know your why so you can endure hardship and boredom. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Small wins build momentum, and momentum creates transformation. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is the secret ingredient behind every lasting success story. The people who win in life are not always the smartest or the most gifted. They are simply the ones who stayed disciplined long enough to reap the rewards. And if they can do it, so can you. If this chapter inspired you, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more powerful lessons, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that small habits create big results. Your support helps us keep creating life-changing content just for you. Chapter 3: Becoming immune to other people's opinions. Imagine for a moment that every decision you made was based only on your own values, your own vision, and your own inner compass, without being shaken by the whispers, judgments, or doubts of others. How much freer would your life feel? How many bold moves would you make if you weren't weighed down by the fear of someone else's opinion? The truth is, one of the greatest obstacles to success is not lack of opportunity, or even lack of resources. It's the heavy burden of caring too much about what other people think. From childhood, we're wired to seek approval. We want to fit in, to be accepted, and to avoid judgment. But here's the reality. If you want to win in life, if you want to focus on yourself until you become unstoppable, you must learn the art of becoming immune to other people's opinions. This doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean you stop listening to feedback. It means you develop a strong enough core that no outside voice can shake your inner foundation. Why opinions hold us back? Think about it. How many times have you held back from taking action because you were afraid of what someone else might say? Maybe you wanted to start a new business, but you thought, what if they laugh at me? Or you wanted to speak your truth in a meeting, but you stayed silent, fearing judgment. Each of these moments costs you growth. Here's the harsh truth. People will always talk. If you do nothing, they'll talk. If you do something big, they'll still talk. So why waste your life trying to manage something that you can never control? As Eleanor Roosevelt once said in her timeless wisdom, do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway. Learning from history and leadership. History shows us countless leaders who became immune to opinions in order to fulfill their mission. Take Abraham Lincoln, for example. During his presidency, he faced relentless criticism from every side: politicians, citizens, even people within his own team. Newspapers mocked him daily. But Lincoln understood something profound. If he tried to please everyone, he would please no one, and worse, he would lose himself. Instead, he kept his eyes on the bigger vision: preserving the Union and ending slavery. Or consider Mahatma Gandhi. He was ridiculed, imprisoned, and underestimated. Many laughed at his idea of nonviolent resistance, calling it weak. But Gandhi didn't let the laughter stop him. He believed in his vision more than he feared other people's opinions. His strength came from his inner conviction, not from external applause. Then think of Oprah Winfrey. Early in her career, she was told she wasn't fit for television. Imagine if she had let those opinions define her. Instead, she turned rejection into fuel and became one of the most influential voices of our time. These stories remind us of one thing. History is not shaped by those who blend into the noise of opinions. It's shaped by those who rise above them. One powerful book that dives into this idea is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK * by Mark Manson. In it, Manson writes, "You can't be an important and life-changing presence for some people without also being a joke and an embarrassment to others." That line is gold. It reminds us that the very same actions that inspire some people will irritate others. You can't win both sides. The only choice that makes sense is to be true to yourself. How to build immunity to opinions. So how do you, in your daily life, build immunity to opinions? Let's break it down. Anchor yourself in your values. Opinions lose their power when you know what you stand for. Write down your top 5 values. Things like integrity, growth, freedom, or family. When criticism comes, ask, does this align with my values? If yes, move forward. If not, ignore the noise. Redefine failure. Many opinions sting because we equate failure with shame. But the truth is, failure is a classroom, not a courtroom. When you see failure as learning, other people's opinions about it don't matter. Limit external noise. Be mindful of how much you expose yourself to voices that don't serve you. This could mean limiting social media, cutting back on gossip circles, or choosing carefully whose feedback you actually invite. Practice small acts of courage. Immunity is built like a muscle. Start with small acts. Where what you like, say no when you mean no, share your ideas even if they're not perfect. Over time, these acts train your mind to stop fearing disapproval. Focus on the bigger vision. When you keep your eyes on a long-term vision, temporary opinions fade into the background. Remember, the people who criticize you today are not the ones who will live with the outcome of your life. You are. Let me ask you directly, whose opinion is currently holding you back? A parent? A friend? A stranger online? Now ask yourself, will that person live your life for you? Will they bear the weight of your dreams if you abandon them? The answer is no. So why give them the power to decide your path? You have one life, and every moment you waste worrying about judgment is a moment stolen from your growth, your joy, and your destiny. Key takeaways. People will always have opinions. Don't live your life trying to control them. Strong leaders and innovators built immunity by anchoring themselves in vision, not applause. You can't be loved by everyone, and you don't need to be. Anchor yourself in values, redefine failure, limit noise, practice courage, and stay focused on the bigger picture. The only opinion that should matter most is the one you hold about yourself. Becoming immune to opinions doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming free. When you're free, you can take risks, chase dreams, and focus on yourself until you win. Remember, history never remembers the critics. It only remembers the doers. Chapter 4. Mastering Your Inner Voice. Let's be honest. Every single one of us has a voice inside our head. Sometimes it's supportive and encouraging. It tells us, you can do this. Keep going. Other times, it can be our harshest critic whispering, you're not good enough. You're going to fail. This inner voice can either be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. Mastering your inner voice is not about silencing it. It's about learning how to guide it, shape it, and make it work for you instead of against you. Think of your inner voice as a coach that you have to train. If you don't train it, it will run wild, repeating the doubts, fears, and negativity you've picked up from the outside world. Let me give you a simple picture. Imagine two seeds planted in the soil of your mind. One seed is self-doubt, the other is self-belief. The one you water every day will grow into a tree. If you keep feeding self-doubt through negative self-talk, it will spread its roots and dominate your mind. But if you consistently water self-belief with positive affirmations, self-discipline, and patience, that seed will grow into strength and resilience. The choice of which seed you water daily is entirely yours. One of the most inspiring examples of mastering the inner voice comes from a well-known world leader who faced countless setbacks before rising to power. This leader was told no over and over again. He failed in business, lost elections, and was criticized by nearly everyone around him. Yet, despite all these voices telling him he wasn't good enough, he mastered the most important voice, the one inside his head. That belief carried him forward until he eventually became one of the most respected leaders in history. Another powerful example comes from the world of sports. Picture an athlete preparing for the most important race of their life. They've trained for years, but in that final moment before the race begins, their biggest challenge isn't the competition. It's the voice inside saying, "What if you lose?" Champions are not defined by perfect circumstances. They're defined by their ability to silence that fear and replace it with confidence. I've trained. I'm ready. I belong here. Even in the field of science, some of the greatest inventors in history faced ridicule. When they first presented their ideas, many people called them crazy. But they chose not to believe the outer voices of doubt. Instead, they mastered their inner voice, reminding themselves, "This idea matters. I must keep pushing forward." Today, we use their inventions daily without thinking twice. The power of self-talk. Your inner voice is shaped by the words you speak to yourself. If you constantly tell yourself, "I can't do this," your brain will find ways to confirm that belief. But if you tell yourself, "I can figure this out," your brain will also find ways to confirm it. In his book The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, he writes, "There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You are the one who hears it." This quote is a reminder that you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. And if you are the observer, then you have the power to decide which thoughts get to stay and which ones you let go. Techniques to master your inner voice. Awareness first. The first step is simply becoming aware of what your inner voice is saying. Many people live on autopilot, letting their thoughts run uncontrolled. But once you start paying attention, you'll notice patterns. Do you often criticize yourself? Do you talk yourself out of opportunities? Awareness is the starting point of mastery. Challenge the negative. When a negative thought arises, like, "I'm not smart enough," don't just accept it. Challenge it. Ask yourself, "Is this true? What evidence do I have?" You'll often realize that your inner critic is exaggerating. Reframe your thoughts. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," try saying, "I'm still learning how to do this." Instead of, "I failed," say, "I just discovered a way that didn't work." Reframing transforms your inner voice from an enemy into a teacher. Use affirmations that resonate. Affirmations are not just about repeating positive phrases. They need to feel true and believable to you. For example, saying, "I'm the best in the world," may not resonate if you don't believe it yet. But saying, "I am improving every day," or "I am capable of growth" can create powerful change. Silence the noise. Sometimes the best way to master your inner voice is to find silence. Through meditation, journaling, or quiet reflection, you can slow down the endless chatter in your mind and reconnect with your core self. Why it matters. If you don't master your inner voice, you will constantly be controlled by it. Think about how many people never chase their dreams simply because that voice told them, "You can't." They listened and obeyed. Now think about those who did chase their dreams, who ignored the doubts and persisted. Their success didn't come from having no fear. It came from mastering their response to it. When you learn to guide your inner voice, you unlock freedom. You become unstoppable because the greatest critic, the harshest doubter, yourself, has now turned into your greatest motivator. Key takeaways. Your inner voice can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them. Champions, leaders, and inventors all share one trait. They mastered their inner voice in moments of doubt. Awareness is the first step. Challenge, reframe, and replace negative self-talk with empowering beliefs. Silence and reflection can help you gain control over your inner dialogue. Mastering your inner voice doesn't mean never hearing negativity. It means deciding which voice you give authority to. Your inner voice is the soundtrack of your life. If you want to win, you need to take control of that soundtrack. Make it one that pushes you forward, not one that holds you back. Train it, guide it, and master it, because once you do, there's nothing in the outside world that can stop you. Chapter 5: Building Habits That Actually Stick. When we think about success, discipline, and personal growth, one word always rises above the rest: habits. Habits are the quiet architects of your destiny. They shape your mornings, your energy, your mindset, and eventually your future. The truth is, success is rarely built on a single breakthrough moment. It is almost always built on the invisible, repetitive things you do day after day. But here's the challenge. Most people struggle not with starting habits, but with keeping them. You may have promised yourself to wake up earlier, exercise more, read daily, or save money consistently. And maybe you did it for a week. Maybe even 2. But somewhere along the way, life happened. You skipped 1 day, then 2, and before long, the habit was gone. So the real question is, how do you build habits that actually stick? The foundation of habits. Think of habits like planting seeds. If you throw a seed on concrete, it won't grow. But if you place it in fertile soil, water it, and nurture it consistently, it becomes a tree. Similarly, habits don't just need willpower. They need systems and environments that make them grow. There's a quote from James Clear's book Atomic Habits that captures this perfectly. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. In other words, habits stick not because you want them to, but because you design your life in a way that supports them. Let's take the story of a world leader known for his sharp discipline, Mahatma Gandhi. His entire movement of nonviolent resistance was built not just on passion, but on the habit of daily discipline. Gandhi's routine was simple but powerful. Waking up at the same time, committing to prayer, reflection, spinning cotton, and fasting regularly. These habits weren't glamorous, but they gave him the mental clarity and resilience to lead millions of people. Now, you may not be leading a global revolution, but you are leading your own life. And just like Gandhi, the small routines you keep, your morning rituals, your mindset practices, your health habits, become the backbone of your strength. Why most habits fail? There are 3 main reasons habits don't stick. They're too big at the start. People set huge, unrealistic goals. For example, deciding to read 50 books a year when you haven't even finished one in months. They rely only on motivation. Motivation is like a spark. It can light a fire, but it won't keep it burning. Discipline and systems do. They lack identity. If you don't see yourself as the kind of person who does that habit, it won't last. For example, if you say, "I'm trying to quit smoking," versus "I am not a smoker," the second identity-based statement is far more powerful. The science of sticking with habits. Habits stick when they are small, easy enough to do daily without resistance. Tied to a trigger, connected to something you already do. Rewarding, they make you feel good or fulfilled. For instance, if you want to start journaling, don't promise yourself an hour every morning. Start with 2 minutes. Put your journal on your bed so you can't miss it. And when you finish, reward yourself, maybe a cup of coffee or a moment of reflection. This combination rewires your brain to crave the habit. Also consider Barack Obama. During his presidency, his schedule was packed with endless decisions, speeches, and international negotiations. But he was intentional about his habits. He started his days with exercise and limited his wardrobe to just 2 suit colors, gray or blue. Why? Because habits reduce decision fatigue. By automating the small things, he had more mental energy to make the big decisions. This is how habits help you not just survive, but thrive under pressure. Turning setbacks into habit fuel. Now, let's be real. You won't always get it right. You'll miss days. You'll get tired. You'll get distracted. But here's the key. Missing one day doesn't destroy a habit. What destroys it is the story you tell yourself after missing. Don't say, "I failed." Say, "I'm learning." The best performers in the world don't avoid failure. They recover from it faster. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency over time. How to start building habit that actually sticks from today. What is one habit you've been wanting to build, but keep postponing? Not 10, not 5, just 1. Now, shrink it down to the smallest version possible. If it's exercise, start with 5 push-ups. If it's reading, start with 1 page. If it's saving money, start with setting aside 1 coin daily. You don't need to prove anything to the world today. You just need to prove consistency to yourself. Because small daily actions compound into extraordinary results. Key takeaways. Habits are the foundation of lasting success. Small habits are stronger than big, overwhelming ones. Tie habits to triggers and make them rewarding. Focus on identity. Become the kind of person who does that habit. Missing a day isn't failure. Quitting is. Always return. Remember, your future is not shaped by what you do once in a while. It is shaped by what you do consistently, almost automatically. Great leaders, world changers, and high performers aren't defined by single events. They are defined by the habits they repeat daily. So ask yourself, what is the one habit you will commit to today, not tomorrow, not someday, but today? Because the habits you build now will become the life you live later. If this chapter inspired you, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more powerful lessons, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that small habits create big results. Your support helps us keep creating life-changing content just for you. Chapter 6. Becoming mentally unshakable during hard times. Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. Hard times come to everyone. They don't ask for permission. They don't care if we're ready, and they rarely follow a schedule. The real question isn't whether we will face challenges. The real question is, what do we do when they arrive? Do we collapse under the pressure, or do we rise stronger, unshakable, and determined to keep moving forward? I want you to think of your mind as a fortress. Hard times are the storms, the floods, the earthquakes trying to shake the walls. If your foundation is weak, the fortress falls apart. But if your foundation is strong, no matter how violent the storm, you remain standing. Consider the story of Abraham Lincoln. Before becoming one of the most influential leaders in history, he faced failure after failure. He lost multiple elections, struggled in business, and even faced severe bouts of depression. Yet, despite it all, he kept showing up. He built his resilience step by step until eventually, he led his nation through its darkest period. His life teaches us that being mentally unshakable is not about avoiding difficulties. It's about continuing despite them. Or think about Malala Yousafzai, a young girl who stood for education even when it put her life at risk. What makes her story remarkable is not just the danger she faced, but the fact that she refused to let fear dictate her future. Her resilience turned her into a global symbol of courage. She shows us that being mentally unshakable is not about pretending hardship doesn't exist, but about refusing to surrender to it. She refuses to be broken. Another example is Winston Churchill. During one of history's darkest wars, when almost everything looked lost, he famously declared, "Never, never, never give up." That mindset alone, delivered during a time of despair, gave people the mental strength to keep fighting, to keep hoping. His ability to remain mentally steady despite overwhelming odds, to endure under fire, is a clear picture of what unshakable mental strength looks like. Becoming mentally unshakable yourself. Now, let's bring this home to you. How do you become mentally unshakable when life throws curveballs at you? Let's break it down step by step. 1. Accept hardship as part of life. Many people get crushed under pressure because they believe life should be easy. The truth? Life has seasons of difficulty for everyone. As the author Viktor Frankl wrote in his classic Man's Search for Meaning, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Frankl, 1946. His survival of unimaginable hardship showed that our inner response is more powerful than our outer conditions. When you stop resisting the fact that hard times will come, you stop wasting energy on why me, and instead focus on what now. 2. Control what you can, release what you cannot. Hardship becomes unbearable when we try to control things outside of our power. Mental strength comes from narrowing your focus. Ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? Maybe it's your attitude. Maybe it's the effort you put in. Maybe it's the way you choose to speak to yourself each morning. The more you focus on your circle of control, the stronger you become. 3. Build inner dialogue that lifts you up. Hard times become harder when your inner voice turns against you. If your mind says, "You're not good enough. You'll never make it. This is the end," you've already lost the battle before it begins. The key to being unshakable is training your inner voice to encourage you instead of destroy you. Simple affirmations like, "I am stronger than this storm," or "This pain will not last forever," act like mental anchors. 4. Practice emotional discipline. When the pressure rises, emotions like fear, anger, and frustration will try to take control. Mentally strong people learn to acknowledge those emotions without letting them rule their actions. Think about a soldier in the middle of chaos. If he panics, he's finished. But if he breathes, calms his nerves, and makes decisions with clarity, he survives. Emotional discipline is not ignoring feelings, it's mastering them. 5. See hardship as training, not punishment. This one shift in perspective changes everything. What if the challenge you're facing is not here to destroy you, but to train you? Muscles only grow when they're placed under resistance. Diamonds only form under pressure. In the same way, your mental strength only grows when life challenges it. Key takeaways for you. Hard times are guaranteed. They are not a punishment. They are part of life's training ground. Being mentally unshakable is less about the situation and more about your response. Focus on what you can control and release the rest. Your inner voice is either your biggest enemy or your strongest ally. Train it wisely. Emotional discipline turns chaos into clarity. Every hardship is an opportunity to become stronger. Imagine yourself 5 years from now, looking back at the hard time you're currently facing. Will you be proud of how you handled it? Will you say, "I stood strong, I didn't break, I grew because of it"? Or will you say, "I gave up too soon, I let fear win"? Remember this: storms don't last forever. But who you become during the storm, that lasts for a lifetime. Your scars become your strength. Your struggles become your wisdom. And your persistence becomes your legacy. So, the next time life feels unbearable, tell yourself this simple truth: I will not be shaken. I will bend, but I will not break. I will rise stronger than before. That is how you become mentally unshakable during hard times. Chapter 7. Choosing yourself daily, even when it's hard. There will be days when choosing yourself feels easy. Days when the sun is shining, when everything is moving in your favor, and when your confidence feels unshakable. But the real test of growth, the real measure of self-mastery, comes on the days when it's the hardest to choose yourself. Think about it. It's easy to say, "I believe in me," when no one is questioning you. But what happens when life throws obstacles, when people doubt you, when your own mind whispers that you're not enough? That is when choosing yourself becomes an act of courage. Choosing yourself daily means waking up every morning and saying, "I matter. My dreams matter. My well-being matters." Even if yesterday you failed, even if people around you are unsupportive, even if the road looks uncertain, still, you choose yourself. One of the most powerful lessons in personal growth is realizing that no one else is responsible for your happiness, your vision, or your future. It rests on your shoulders. And the strength to carry it does not come all at once. It comes by making that choice little by little, day after day. The difficulty of choosing yourself. Why is it so hard? Because choosing yourself often means disappointing others. It may mean walking away from people who don't see your worth. It may mean declining opportunities that don't align with your vision. It may mean risking criticism, rejection, or misunderstanding. For instance, consider the story of a well-known civil rights leader who fought for justice despite being told countless times to wait or be silent. Choosing himself meant enduring criticism from every side. But he understood that silence was betrayal, not only to himself but to those who looked up to him. His courage teaches us this. Choosing yourself often makes you unpopular, but it makes you free. Now, think about entrepreneurs who dared to walk away from stable jobs to build something that didn't exist before. They faced ridicule, financial instability, and sleepless nights. Yet they chose themselves, not because it was easy, but because the alternative, abandoning their vision, was unbearable. Consider Mahatma Gandhi. He chose the path of nonviolence in a time when anger and retaliation seemed to be the only answers. Choosing himself meant staying true to his principle of peace, even when others believed force was the only way forward. His commitment to self-alignment changed the course of history. Another example is Malala Yousafzai. As a young girl, she chose her right to education, even when it was dangerous. Choosing herself daily wasn't a comfortable decision. It was life-threatening. But because she did, millions of girls across the globe were inspired to demand their right to learn. These stories remind us that choosing yourself daily does not always come wrapped in comfort. It sometimes comes wrapped in sacrifice. But what you gain is authenticity, freedom, and eventually fulfillment. There's a powerful line in The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown that says, "Authenticity is a collection of choices that we have to make every day. It's about the choice to show up and be real, the choice to be honest, the choice to let our true selves be seen." That's the essence of this chapter. Choosing yourself daily, even when it's hard, isn't just a one-time act of bravery. It's a practice, a commitment, a decision repeated over and over until it becomes who you are. How to choose yourself daily. So how do you practice this? Let's break it down. Start with your morning. Before the world makes demands on you, affirm your worth. It could be journaling, prayer, meditation, or simply saying out loud, "I choose me today." Learn to say no. Every yes to something that drains you is a no to yourself. Protect your time, your energy, and your dreams. Prioritize your health. Choosing yourself means taking care of your body and mind. Sleep, nutrition, and movement are not luxuries. They are necessities. Set boundaries. People may not always understand your journey. That's okay. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors you control. Celebrate your small wins. Each time you choose yourself, even in small ways, acknowledge it. Progress is built on consistent self-affirmation. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. Every day they wake up before dawn, when the body screams for more rest. They follow strict diets when their peers enjoy indulgence. They miss parties, celebrations, and sometimes even family events. Why? Because they choose themselves, the version of themselves they are becoming. And though the journey is lonely and exhausting, the victory is sweet not just because of the medal, but because of the discipline of self-choice. The inner resistance. Here's the truth. Your biggest enemy in choosing yourself daily is not the world outside. It's the voice inside. The voice that says, "You're not good enough. You'll fail again. No one cares." But remember this. Every time you silence that voice with action, it grows weaker. Every time you override self-doubt with courage, you take back power. One practical trick is this. Whenever your inner voice discourages you, ask yourself, what would my best self do right now? Then choose that. Key takeaways. Choosing yourself daily is not selfish, it is self-respect. It is hardest when people doubt you, but that's when it matters most. Great leaders, innovators, and changemakers all had to choose themselves before the world recognized them. Authenticity, as Brené Brown reminds us, is a daily choice, not a one-time event. Protecting your energy, setting boundaries, and celebrating small wins are practical ways to choose yourself. The inner voice of doubt will resist you, but consistency and self-choice will silence it over time. Remember, the world benefits most when you show up as your truest self. Every day, life gives you two options. Shrink into what's comfortable, or choose yourself and grow into what's possible. The first option feels safe, but it keeps you small. The second option feels scary, but it sets you free. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I want you to pause, look in the mirror, and declare boldly, "I choose me," even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because the more you choose yourself, the more unstoppable you become. If this chapter inspired you, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more powerful lessons, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that small habits create big results. Your support helps us keep creating life-changing content just for you. Chapter 8. Embracing Discomfort to Unlock Your Next Level. Think about the moments in your life when you truly grew, when you discovered strength you didn't even know you had. Were those moments comfortable? Probably not. Growth never lives in the comfort zone. It hides in the places that make us sweat, tremble, and question ourselves. Discomfort is the gym where your character is built, the training ground where your resilience is forged, and the doorway to your next level. Most people run away from discomfort. They avoid challenges, skip the hard conversations, and play small because it feels safer. But the truth is, safety often equals stagnation. If you want to live a bigger life, if you want to unlock your next level, you must learn to not just tolerate discomfort, but to embrace it. Let's start with a story. Think about a young man who grew up with very little. He had every reason to believe that success was not meant for him. But instead of choosing comfort, he chose the discomfort of working tirelessly, learning, failing, and trying again. That man later became a world leader, respected for his courage and resilience. His story reminds us that discomfort is not punishment, it's preparation. History is filled with such examples. Take Winston Churchill, who led his people through one of the darkest times in history. It was not comfortable to make decisions under pressure, to face criticism, and to endure sleepless nights knowing millions of lives depended on his choices. But it was that very discomfort that shaped him into one of the most influential leaders of his generation. Or think of Malala Yousafzai, who stood up for education despite threats, violence, and danger. Speaking up when the world tried to silence her was not comfortable. Yet her discomfort turned into a global movement that continues to inspire millions. Discomfort, you see, is a universal teacher. It doesn't care where you're from, how old you are, or what your background looks like. It simply asks, are you willing to stretch beyond what feels easy to discover what you're truly capable of? One of my favorite quotes on this subject comes from Robin Sharma in his book The 5 a.m. Club. He writes, "All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end." This beautifully explains why discomfort is necessary. The beginning of every transformation feels awkward, uncertain, and even painful. But if you push through the mess, you eventually arrive at a place that feels powerful and liberating. Now let's bring this closer to your life. Maybe you're uncomfortable because you're starting a new job. Maybe you're trying to build a business, and every step feels like a risk. Or maybe you're working on your health, and getting up at 5 a.m. to exercise feels like torture. These moments of discomfort are not signs that you're failing. They are signs that you're growing. Imagine an athlete preparing for the Olympics. The training is brutal, long hours, sore muscles, strict diets, and countless sacrifices. But without that discomfort, standing on the podium with a medal would never be possible. Your life works the same way. Every time you embrace discomfort, you're adding weight to your barbell of growth. Think about it like this. Comfort zones are like invisible cages. You think you're safe inside, but really you're trapped. The moment you step outside that cage, yes, it feels scary. But it's also the only way you can expand your wings. So how do you start embracing discomfort instead of running from it? Here are a few coaching principles I want you to hold close. Reframe discomfort as a teacher, not a threat. Instead of saying, "This is too hard," say, "This is teaching me something valuable." When you shift your perspective, discomfort stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like progress. Start small, then stretch. You don't have to take on a mountain tomorrow. Begin with little discomforts. Wake up earlier, take on a project that scares you, have that conversation you've been avoiding. Small acts of discomfort prepare you for the bigger ones. Remember the long-term reward. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Every uncomfortable step you take today is building a future version of you who is unstoppable. Surround yourself with stories of courage. When you read biographies of leaders, innovators, or creators, you realize they all endured seasons of discomfort. Their stories remind you that you're not alone in your struggle. Let me remind you of another inspiring figure, Oprah Winfrey. She came from a difficult background, facing struggles that could have broken her spirit. But instead of staying in the comfort of playing small, she embraced the discomfort of public speaking, of putting her voice into the world, even when it wasn't popular. Today, her influence spans across the globe, but it all began with her willingness to step into discomfort. You see, every level of your life will demand a new version of you. And that new version is always born in discomfort. Think about the butterfly. Before it can fly, it must struggle inside the cocoon. That struggle is uncomfortable, even painful, but it is necessary for its wings to grow strong enough to fly. Without the discomfort of the cocoon, the butterfly would never experience the freedom of the skies. So let me ask you, what cocoon of discomfort are you in right now? Maybe it's the discomfort of saving money when you'd rather spend. Maybe it's the discomfort of learning a new skill that makes you feel like a beginner again. Or maybe it's the discomfort of walking away from relationships that no longer serve your growth. Whatever it is, I want you to see it as the sacred space where your wings are growing. When you embrace discomfort, you stop fearing failure. You realize that every setback is simply feedback. Every challenge is a stepping stone. Every moment of pain is making you more prepared for the greatness that's waiting on the other side. Key takeaways for you. Discomfort is not punishment, it is preparation. Every great leader, innovator, or achiever grew through seasons of discomfort. Reframe discomfort as your teacher, not your enemy. Start with small discomforts to build resilience for bigger challenges. Remember, Growth never happens in the comfort zone. So here's my challenge to you. This week, do something uncomfortable on purpose. Push yourself in a small but meaningful way. Whether it's waking up earlier, speaking up when you'd usually stay silent, or trying something you've been afraid of, step into discomfort. Because your next level of life is waiting just beyond it. Chapter 9. Replacing comparison with confidence. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through pictures, watching people live their lives, and suddenly felt like you weren't enough? Maybe you thought, I should be further ahead. I should be doing what they're doing. Comparison has a way of making us shrink, of stealing the joy from our own progress. And yet, comparison is something every human being struggles with at some point. But here's the truth. Confidence grows when comparison ends. Confidence doesn't come from looking at what everyone else is doing. It comes from standing tall in your own lane, trusting your own pace, and knowing that your story is unique. Think about it this way. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every morning just to check how fast it's growing compared to your neighbor's plant. You water it, give it sunlight, and trust that in time, it will grow into its full form. That's how your journey works too. The trap of comparison. Comparison is dangerous because it makes you measure your behind the scenes against someone else's highlight reel. You see their success, their wealth, their recognition, but you don't see their failures, the nights they cried, the times they doubted themselves. Let's consider a global example. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, was famously fired from the very company he helped build. For years, people thought his story was over. If he had compared himself endlessly to other tech leaders, he might have given up. But instead, he focused on his vision, rebuilt his confidence, and years later returned to Apple to make it one of the most valuable companies in the world. His legacy is not about comparison. It's about creating something only he could create. The same is true for Oprah Winfrey, who came from an incredibly difficult childhood. If she had compared her beginnings to others with privilege and opportunities, she might have believed she had no chance. Instead, she chose confidence in her voice, her perspective, and her ability to connect with people. That confidence turned her into one of the most influential media leaders in history. In The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, she writes, "Stay in your own lane. Comparison kills creativity and joy." This is a powerful reminder that comparison robs us of the energy we need to build the life we want. Every time you compare, you waste energy that could have been used to create, to learn, to grow. Confidence, the antidote to comparison. So how do we replace comparison with confidence? Know your value. Confidence begins with self-awareness. Ask yourself, what am I good at? What strengths do I bring to the table? What makes me unique? When you recognize your value, you stop needing validation from outside. Measure backward, not sideways. Instead of looking at others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, last month, or last year. Did you grow? Did you learn something new? That's progress. That's winning. Celebrate others without diminishing yourself. Confidence means you can cheer for others and still believe in your own journey. Someone else's success is not your failure. There's enough space at the top for everyone. Take the example of Malala Yousafzai. At a very young age, she faced unimaginable obstacles just for wanting an education. If she had compared herself to girls in safer, more privileged situations, she might have felt powerless. Instead, she focused on her mission. Her confidence in her voice and her right to education made her a global advocate and the youngest Nobel Prize laureate. Another example is Michael Jordan. When he was cut from his high school basketball team, he could have compared himself to those who made the team and quit. But instead, he used that moment to fuel his growth. His confidence in his potential drove him to become one of the greatest athletes of all time. These examples show us that true leaders don't waste time comparing. They lock in on their vision and trust the process. How to build confidence. Let's make this personal. Imagine for a moment that you are walking into a room full of people who seem smarter, richer, or more successful than you. Instead of shrinking, here's how you can shift into confidence. Affirm yourself daily. Speak words like, I am enough. My journey is valid. I am becoming the best version of me. Limit the triggers. If social media constantly makes you compare, unfollow accounts that drain your confidence. Follow only what inspires and uplifts you. Invest in growth. Confidence grows when you're competent. Learn new skills, read books, and practice habits that build mastery. Act, even when afraid. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite fear. The freedom of owning your lane. The moment you stop comparing, you set yourself free. Free to move at your own pace. Free to define success on your own terms. Free to enjoy the life you're building. A wise saying goes, a flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms. You, too, are here to bloom, not to compete. Key takeaways. Comparison kills joy, confidence restores it. Your journey is unique, measure backward, not sideways. Confidence grows from self-awareness, daily action, and refusing to let others define your worth. Celebrate others' wins, but never forget to celebrate your own growth. Stay in your lane and trust that your time will come. So, as you move forward, remember this. Comparison will always whisper, but confidence will always roar. The question is, which voice will you choose to listen to? Your confidence is your power. Own it, protect it, and let it guide you to the life you were meant to live. If this chapter inspired you, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more powerful lessons, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that small habits create big results. Your support helps us keep creating life-changing content just for you. Chapter 10. Protecting your energy and guarding your peace. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you felt completely drained? Not because you worked hard on your goals, but because you allowed the wrong people, situations, or thoughts to take over your space. Protecting your energy is not just a self-care trend. It is survival. It is the difference between moving forward in your life or constantly being stuck in circles you didn't create. Think of your energy as currency. You only get a limited amount each day. If you spend it all on arguments, negativity, or trying to please everyone, what's left for your dreams? For your growth? For your happiness? Guarding your peace is about protecting that inner power so you can invest it wisely. Why protecting your energy matters. Imagine a smartphone. No matter how expensive it is, it's useless if the battery runs out. In the same way, no matter how smart, talented, or gifted you are, you cannot function at your best if you are always drained. The truth is, energy leaks happen when we keep people or habits in our lives that constantly drain us without giving anything back. Leaders, artists, athletes, and even everyday people who achieve greatness all understand one thing. Your energy is sacred. Without it, your dreams die before they even begin. Take Mahatma Gandhi, for example. Gandhi was known for his peaceful resistance, but do you know what made him effective? He guarded his peace fiercely. In the middle of chaos, he chose silence, meditation, and simplicity. He refused to let the constant noise of the world steal his inner calm. His ability to stay centered was the reason millions followed him. That is the power of guarding your peace. Another powerful example is Oprah Winfrey. She often speaks about how saying no was one of the most liberating lessons of her life. At the height of her career, she was constantly pulled in different directions. Yet, she learned that her energy had limits. By setting boundaries, she created room to focus on what mattered most to her. And that is how she built lasting impact. The hidden cost of not guarding your energy. When you don't guard your peace, you become a victim of other people's storms. Maybe you've experienced this. You wake up in a good mood, but then you scroll through social media and suddenly you're anxious, comparing yourself, or feeling like you're not enough. Or maybe you start your day strong, but one toxic phone call ruins the entire day. That's what happens when we give people free access to our energy. As author Don Miguel Ruiz wrote in The Four Agreements, nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. When you internalize this truth, you stop giving away your peace. You stop taking things personally. You begin to protect your inner world like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. How to protect your energy. Now, let's get personal. How do you actually guard your peace in a noisy, demanding world? Set boundaries without guilt. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They let in love and support but block out negativity and manipulation. Saying no doesn't make you rude, it makes you wise. Control your inputs. Just like food affects your body, what you consume affects your mind. Guard your energy by choosing what you read, watch, and listen to. If it constantly makes you angry or anxious, it doesn't deserve your attention. Choose your circle wisely. If the people around you don't inspire, challenge, or support you, they are draining you. Surround yourself with those who add light, not darkness, to your life. Master the pause. Not everything requires a reaction. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause, breathe, and choose peace instead of conflict. Recharge daily. Guarding your peace is not a one-time decision. It's daily maintenance. Meditation, journaling, prayer, or simply taking a walk. Whatever recharges you, make it non-negotiable. Consider former U.S. President Barack Obama. During his presidency, the pressure was unimaginable. Critics everywhere, decisions that impacted millions, and the constant glare of the media. Yet, he carved out time every evening for his family dinner, no matter how busy he was. That was his way of protecting his energy and grounding himself in what mattered. He knew that without guarding that inner space, he would lose himself to the demands of others. Now, I want you to think, where are you leaking energy right now? Maybe it's through endless arguments online. Maybe it's through trying to keep relationships that no longer serve you. Maybe it's through constantly saying yes when your heart screams no. What would happen if, starting today, you began protecting your peace like Gandhi, Oprah, or Obama? How much more energy would you have for your goals? How much clearer would your mind be? How much lighter would your heart feel? The truth is, you cannot control everything around you, but you can control what you allow inside you. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's necessary. Key takeaways. Your energy is currency. Spend it wisely. Guarding your peace means setting boundaries, not walls. Stop taking things personally. People's actions reflect them, not you. The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Control your inputs. What you consume shapes how you feel. Even great leaders guard their peace. Gandhi with silence, Oprah with no, Obama with family time. Protecting your energy daily creates room for clarity, focus, and unstoppable progress. So, as you move forward, remember, peace is power. The world is loud, demanding, and full of distractions. But you have the right and the responsibility to choose calm over chaos. Protect your energy, guard your peace, and watch how much stronger, clearer, and more unstoppable you become. Chapter 11. Turning Setbacks into Fuel for Growth. Life doesn't move in a straight line. It is full of highs and lows, victories and defeats, moments of joy and times of deep struggle. And yet, it is in those struggles, those setbacks, that some of the most remarkable transformations are born. If you think about your own journey, you'll realize that some of your greatest lessons didn't come when everything was smooth. They came when you were pressed, challenged, and pushed to the edge. When you face a setback, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to discouragement, bitterness, and giving up. The other leads to growth, resilience, and an even greater comeback. The truth is, setbacks are not the end of your story. They are chapters that prepare you for your next level. Let's start with a powerful example. One of the greatest inventors in history failed thousands of times before perfecting his creation. When asked how he managed to keep going despite so many failed attempts, he replied that he hadn't failed at all. He had simply discovered thousands of ways that didn't work. That perspective turned what looked like failure into progress. Instead of letting the setbacks break him, he used them as fuel for innovation. Today, the entire world benefits from the light that came out of his persistence. Another example comes from a world leader who once faced rejection after rejection in politics. He lost elections, faced public criticism, and was even told he was not fit for leadership. But instead of quitting, he took those defeats as lessons. He studied his weaknesses, improved his speeches, sharpened his vision, and eventually rose to lead his nation through one of its most difficult times. His story teaches us that defeat is not permanent unless you allow it to be. Here's the truth. Setbacks are feedback. They are life's way of showing you what doesn't work, so you can get closer to what does. If you adopt this mindset, you'll begin to see failure differently. You'll stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" There is a quote I want to share with you. It's from Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that obstacles are not blockages. They are the very path that shapes you. The thing that tried to stop you is the thing that will prepare you. Think of a seed planted in the soil. At first, it is covered in darkness. It is pressed down and cannot see the sun. But that pressure, that struggle, forces the seed to grow roots, to push through the soil, and to rise above. Without the resistance of the soil, the seed would never grow strong. The same applies to you. Your setbacks are the soil that strengthens your roots and pushes you upward. But let's make it practical. How do you turn setbacks into fuel for growth? First, reframe the story. Instead of labeling an event as failure, call it training. Athletes don't see tough practices as failure. They see them as preparation for the big game. If you see every setback as part of your training, you'll embrace it differently. Second, extract the lesson. Every disappointment carries wisdom. Maybe it's teaching you patience, sharpening your skills, or showing you who truly supports you. Don't walk away from a setback empty-handed. Ask yourself what wisdom you can carry forward. Third, build resilience through consistency. When a world leader lost one of the most important elections of his life, he could have walked away forever. Instead, he kept showing up, learning from his mistakes, and pushing forward. Years later, he became one of the most respected leaders in history. His setback was not a dead end. It was a detour to something greater. Fourth, use pain as fuel. Some of the most inspiring figures in history were shaped by rejection, struggle, or loss. Instead of letting the pain define them, they used it to sharpen their determination. When life knocks you down, don't just get back up. Stand taller, stronger, and wiser. Now, let's make this personal. Think about the last time you faced a major setback. Maybe it was a financial struggle, a broken relationship, or a dream that didn't work out. What did you do with it? Did you bury it and call it failure? Or did you use it to grow? Here's the beautiful part. You can decide right now to reinterpret that experience. You can choose to see it not as an ending, but as training for the next phase of your journey. One of the greatest dangers in setbacks is allowing them to crush your identity. You are not your failures. Failing at something does not mean you are a failure. It simply means you're in the process of refining your path. Separate your identity from your results. When you do that, you'll carry yourself with confidence even when circumstances look shaky. And remember, the comeback is always greater than the setback, if you refuse to quit. Many world leaders, entrepreneurs, and thinkers who are celebrated today are not remembered for how many times they fell, but for how many times they stood back up. People admire resilience because it speaks to the human spirit, the part of us that refuses to be defeated. So, what should you take away from this? Key takeaways. Setbacks are feedback, not final verdicts. They are lessons in disguise. Reframe failure as training. Every stumble is preparing you for your next breakthrough. Extract the lesson before moving on. Don't leave your pain without finding the wisdom in it. Resilience is built through repetition. Keep showing up, even when the results are not immediate. Your identity is greater than your results. You are not defined by what went wrong. You are defined by how you respond. The obstacle is the way. Use setbacks as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. So, the next time life throws you a challenge, don't shrink back. Don't let failure write your story. Instead, lean into the lesson, draw strength from the struggle, and use the setback as fuel for your unstoppable growth. Because remember, your story isn't over until you win. Chapter 12. The Power of Consistency over Intensity. Imagine this. Someone gets inspired one day and decides to run 20 miles to get in shape. The next day, their body hurts, they're exhausted, and they quit for months. Compare that to another person who quietly runs 2 miles every day, week after week, month after month. Who do you think will be healthier in a year? The answer is obvious. It's not the person who burned out in one day of intensity, but the one who showed up consistently, even in small doses. This is the truth most people overlook. Success is rarely built in bursts of energy. It's built through steady, consistent effort. The human mind loves excitement. We want results fast, we want the big transformation, and we want it now. But here's the secret. Consistency is the real multiplier of success. Intensity might get you started, but consistency keeps you going. Think about some of the most admired leaders in history. Their greatness didn't come from one explosive act, but from years of consistent decisions, habits, and values. A world leader once said, "I walk slowly, but I never walk backward." That mindset, steady progress without retreat, is what creates real transformation. Take the example of a global leader who inherited a struggling economy. Instead of promising overnight miracles, he committed to small, deliberate changes over years, reforming policies step by step, earning trust gradually, and staying consistent with his vision. At first, people doubted him, but over time, the steady rhythm of consistent action built a foundation for national progress. His story reminds us that sustainable change doesn't come from a single dramatic moment. It comes from showing up again and again, even when progress feels invisible. The same applies to personal success. Consider the world of art. A famous painter didn't create his most celebrated masterpiece in one inspired night. He painted daily, experimenting, refining, sometimes failing. Over decades of consistent effort, his name became etched in history. The truth? Consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. James Clear, in his best-selling book Atomic Habits, puts it perfectly. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. What does this mean? It means your daily habits, the small consistent actions, matter far more than the big dramatic goals you set. A goal gives you direction, but consistency gives you momentum. Think about it like planting a seed. If you water a seed once with an entire bucket and never touch it again, it will die. But if you water it lightly every day, it will grow into a strong tree. Your dreams are the same. They require daily nurturing, not occasional intensity. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine 2 students preparing for a big exam. The first crams for 12 hours straight the night before. The second studies 1 hour daily for 3 months. Who do you think will remember the knowledge longer? The one who built the habit of daily learning. Consistency builds retention, mastery, and confidence. In your own life, ask yourself, are you chasing intensity, or are you building consistency? Do you go all out for a few weeks on your goals, only to give up when life gets hard? Or do you commit to small, non-negotiable habits that move you forward no matter what? The most successful athletes, leaders, and creators understand this principle deeply. They don't rely on sudden motivation. They rely on systems, routines, and habits that keep them moving forward, even on days they don't feel like it. Here's the truth I want you to remember. Consistency beats intensity because it compounds. Just like money grows with compound interest, your habits grow with compound effort. A single workout won't change your body, but 100 workouts over time will. Writing 1 page won't make you an author, but writing 1 page daily for a year gives you a book. Speaking kindly to yourself once won't heal you, but practicing self-compassion daily can transform your mental health. Now let's make this personal. What's one area of your life where you've been chasing intensity instead of consistency? Is it your fitness? Your business? Your relationships? Your personal growth? Write it down. Then ask, what small, simple daily action can I commit to that will keep me moving forward no matter how I feel? Remember, intensity may inspire people, but consistency earns respect. Intensity may create noise, but consistency creates results. Key takeaways. Consistency beats intensity because small daily actions compound into massive results over time. Success is not built overnight. It is the result of steady, disciplined effort, even when progress feels invisible. Your systems matter more than your goals. Build routines that support your vision. Think long-term. One seed watered daily grows into a tree. One dramatic act without follow-up leads to nothing. Greatness comes from showing up, again and again, especially when you don't feel like it. If you want to win, stop chasing intensity. Start practicing consistency. Commit to being the person who shows up daily, quietly, steadily, even when nobody's watching. The world may not notice your effort today, but soon they'll notice your results. And before you leave, if this audiobook is inspiring you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That way, more people can join you on this journey of growth. And together we can create a world where consistency builds champions. Chapter 13. Redefining success on your own terms. Let's pause for a moment and think about what success really means. For many people, success is defined by external standards: wealth, a big house, luxury cars, job titles, or the approval of others. We've been conditioned to believe that success has a universal look, as though there's one mold everyone should fit into. But here's the truth: success is deeply personal. What makes one person feel fulfilled might leave another completely empty. Redefining success on your own terms is about creating a vision for your life that's aligned with your values, your passions, and your unique purpose, not society's checklist. Think about it. There are countless stories of people who climbed to the top of their careers, gained fame, or accumulated wealth, only to say they felt unfulfilled, lonely, or lost. That's because they were chasing someone else's definition of success instead of their own. Why you need to redefine success. If you don't define success for yourself, the world will do it for you. And the world's version of success is often a trap. It pushes you into comparison, competition, and constant dissatisfaction. A well-known example is Mahatma Gandhi. For him, success was not about money or power. He redefined success as the ability to live by truth, simplicity, and service to others. His life demonstrated that true success can be measured in impact, not in possessions. Gandhi showed us that the courage to follow your inner compass, no matter how unpopular, creates a legacy far greater than material achievements. Another example is Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty, she faced enormous obstacles. But instead of letting society dictate her worth, she redefined success as creating meaningful conversations and empowering others. Her story proves that success is not about where you start. It's about staying aligned with your vision and using your gifts to make a difference. The trap of society's definition. There's a powerful quote from The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. If the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step we take just gets us to the wrong place faster. This means you could spend years working hard, climbing the ladder of success, only to realize you never wanted to be on that wall in the first place. Imagine working 60-hour weeks for a career you don't love, just to impress people whose opinions don't actually matter. Imagine sacrificing health, family, or inner peace, only to achieve a goal that doesn't bring you joy. That's the cost of following society's definition of success. Creating your own definition. So how do you redefine success on your own terms? Ask yourself, what do I truly value? Is it freedom? Impact? Creativity? Family? Peace of mind? Your answer will guide your vision. Visualize your ideal life. Don't just think about money or titles. Think about how you want to feel every morning. Do you want excitement? Balance? A sense of contribution? Measure success by progress, not perfection. If you're closer to your authentic goals today than you were yesterday, you are already successful. Detach from comparison. Your journey is unique. Just because someone else measures success by luxury doesn't mean you have to. Celebrate alignment, not approval. Every time you choose what feels right for you, you're winning, even if others don't understand. Look at Malala Yousafzai. She could have chosen the easy path, silence in the face of adversity. But she redefined success as the courage to pursue education and amplify the voices of girls around the world. Today, Her life proves that success is about impact and conviction, not comfort. Or consider Elon Musk. While many entrepreneurs chase profit, his vision of success is tied to innovation and solving global challenges. His willingness to dream differently, despite failures and criticism, shows that success is about staying true to what you believe in, even when others doubt you. These examples remind us that the people we admire most are not those who followed society's rules, but those who created their own. Now, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. If no one could judge me, what would my definition of success look like? If money was not a limitation, how would I choose to live? What goals excite my soul, not just my bank account? Take a moment to write these down, because clarity is power. And once you define success for yourself, every choice becomes easier. You stop chasing shadows and start building something real. Key takeaways. Success is personal. Don't borrow society's definition. Create your own. Impact, joy, peace, and freedom often matter more than money or titles. Redefining success allows you to align your goals with your true values. The most admired leaders and innovators are those who lived authentically, not those who followed the crowd. If the ladder you're climbing is not on the right wall, stop and move it. Redefining success is not a one-time decision, it's a lifelong journey. As you grow, your definition may evolve, and that's okay. What matters is that you live a life that feels true to you, not a life that looks good only from the outside. So, focus on you until you win, on your terms. If this chapter spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Remember, growth multiplies when it's shared. Like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to this channel for more life-changing audiobooks. Together, we're building a community that believes in defining success authentically and living boldly. Chapter 14. The Long Game, Patience, Vision, and Unstoppable Progress. Have you ever planted a seed and expected a tree the next morning? Of course not. You know that nature takes its time. The seed first pushes roots underground, invisible to the eye. Then slowly, tiny shoots break through the soil. With water, sunlight, and care, that small sprout becomes a mighty tree. Success works exactly the same way. The long game requires patience, vision, and a belief in unstoppable progress, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Most people quit because they mistake silence for failure. They believe if they don't see quick results, it means nothing is working. But real growth is slow and steady. Every great achievement you admire today was built over years of persistence. That's the secret of the long game. Staying committed when the results are not immediate. Think about leaders who changed the world. One example is Abraham Lincoln, who faced failure after failure, business failures, political defeats, personal losses. Yet he stayed in the game. He kept his vision alive, even when his circumstances gave him every reason to give up. Eventually, his patience and determination shaped him into one of the most respected leaders in history. Or consider Mahatma Gandhi, who stood against injustice with a method that seemed too slow to many. He believed in nonviolence, even when others thought violence was faster. His patience and consistency over decades inspired a movement that reshaped an entire nation's destiny. These stories remind us of one powerful truth. Short-term wins may look attractive, but they rarely build lasting impact. The long game does. The author James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, writes, "You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current results." Think about that. It doesn't matter how small your progress looks today. What matters is whether you're moving in the right direction. Every small action compounds, and over time, those tiny steps create unstoppable momentum. Let's bring this into your own life. Maybe you're working on a dream, starting a business, getting healthier, learning a skill, or even becoming emotionally stronger. At first, it feels exciting, but then the slow days come. You see little or no results. That's when most people quit. But if you hold on, if you keep watering your seed, the breakthrough will eventually arrive. Patience is not about sitting still and waiting. Patience is active. It means you keep doing the right things, even when you don't see the reward yet. Vision is the second ingredient of the long game. Without vision, patience is almost impossible. Vision is what keeps you motivated when things are not visible yet. Picture yourself like a builder constructing a massive skyscraper. For months, you dig underground, laying foundation after foundation. People passing by may laugh, saying, "Nothing is happening." But you know the truth, you're building depth before height. The taller the skyscraper, the deeper the foundation must be. That's the essence of patience and vision working together. The final piece is unstoppable progress. Progress doesn't mean giant leaps every day. Progress often looks like small steps, reading one more page, saving a little more money, practicing one more hour, saying no to one more distraction. Each small act may look insignificant, but when added up over months and years, they create unstoppable transformation. Think about athletes who rise to greatness. They don't achieve excellence by training once in a while. They show up every single day, rain or shine, pain or no pain. Their long game is consistency. And that's what separates them from everyone else who starts with excitement, but gives up when results don't come quickly. So, let me ask you, are you playing the short game or the long game in your life right now? The short game looks for instant rewards. The long game builds unshakable results. The short game burns out. The long game leaves a legacy. Here's what I want you to remember. Patience is your strength when results seem invisible. Vision is your compass that keeps you moving forward. Unstoppable progress is the daily discipline of small actions compounding into greatness. Now, let's turn this into personal coaching. Imagine you're running a marathon. The crowd cheers loudly at the start. Everyone runs fast. But by mile 10, the excitement is gone. By mile 20, many people have dropped out. By mile 25, only the ones who trained, who had patience, who believed in their vision, are still standing. Life is that marathon. You're not competing with others. You're running your own race. Stay the course. Don't burn out chasing quick fixes. Whenever you feel discouraged, remind yourself of this. Nothing worth having comes overnight. Every seed needs time. Every dream requires patience. And every vision demands consistency. Before we wrap up, let me give you some key takeaways from this chapter. Don't confuse slow progress with failure. Growth takes time, just like a seed takes time to become a tree. Build a strong vision. Without vision, you will lose patience. Vision fuels perseverance. Trust the compound effect. Small, consistent actions done daily are far more powerful than big, inconsistent efforts. Embrace the process. The long game is not just about the destination. It's about who you become along the journey. Stay consistent when others give up. That's how you separate yourself and create unstoppable progress. As you leave this chapter, remember, greatness is not built in a day, but it is built daily. Stay patient, stay consistent, and trust your vision. The long game always rewards those who do not quit. If this audiobook chapter inspired you, I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe so more people can join this journey of growth and transformation. Your support helps us create even more life-changing content for you. Stay patient, stay focused, and keep playing the long game, because that's how you win. Chapter 15. Becoming the main character in your own life. Imagine watching a movie where the main character never takes action, never makes bold choices, and never stands up for themselves. Would you stay glued to the screen? Probably not. Yet, this is how many people live their lives, playing the background role in their own story. They let circumstances, other people's opinions, and fear dictate how their story unfolds. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be a side character. You are the main character of your life. The moment you accept that, your choices, your energy, and your vision will begin to align differently. Becoming the main character doesn't mean being selfish, arrogant, or dismissive of others. It means taking ownership of your life, leading with intention, and creating a story worth telling. Why you struggle to see yourself as the main character. For many, it starts early. Society teaches us to seek approval before we act, to wait for permission before we move, and to shrink so others can shine. Over time, You may begin to believe that your role is only to support others while your own dreams remain silent in the background. But look at the greatest stories of leaders, innovators, and changemakers. Their lives turned around the moment they stopped waiting for permission. They decided to live their truth, even when others doubted them. Think about the story of Mahatma Gandhi. He was not born into a position of great power, nor did he begin life as a symbol of global change. But he made a decision to live by his values of truth and nonviolence and let those values shape his actions. His choice to step into the role of the main character not only transformed his life, but also influenced millions. Gandhi's example teaches us this. When you stop waiting for permission and choose to act with conviction, you step into your starring role. Or consider an innovator like Steve Jobs. For years, people doubted his vision. He was even pushed out of the company he co-founded. Many would have accepted defeat, shrinking back into obscurity. But Jobs didn't. He refused to stay in the background. He chose to remain the main character of his story, returning with bold ideas that reshaped technology and culture forever. The lesson? Main characters don't let rejection or setbacks define them. They rise again stronger, because they know the story is still theirs to write. The role of inner narrative. Your life is guided by a story you tell yourself every day. If your narrative is filled with doubt, I'm not good enough, it's too late, or I'll never make it, then you're already playing a background role. But if your inner voice says, this is my story and I decide how it unfolds, you shift into the lead role instantly. As Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning, once wrote, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. This quote is powerful because it shows that even in the darkest of times, you still have the power to choose your perspective and your role. Becoming the main character, practical shifts. Set boundaries. The main character does not say yes to every demand. They know their time, energy, and attention are valuable. Define your own success. Stop living by someone else's script. Ask yourself, what does success look like for me, not for others? Take bold action. Heroes in movies are remembered because they take risks. The same applies to real life. Start the business, write the book, make the move. Your story is waiting for action. Embrace failure as part of the plot. Every main character struggles before they win. When failure comes, don't see it as the end. See it as the turning point. Celebrate small wins. Great movies have key moments of triumph along the way. Recognize and celebrate your own milestones instead of waiting only for the big finale. Think about Winston Churchill. During the darkest days of World War II, his country faced fear and despair. Many would have buckled under the pressure, but Churchill stepped into his role with resilience and bold speeches that rallied his people. He redefined courage. He became the voice of courage, not because the circumstances were easy, but because he chose to embody leadership when it mattered most. Your story may not involve leading a nation through war, but you too will face seasons where you must decide. Do I step into my role, or do I shrink into the background? Living as the main character daily. To live as the main character means to wake up with intention. It means asking, what choices today align with my vision? How do I want to be remembered in this chapter of my life? Am I living for myself or merely reacting to the world around me? It is about seeing every day as a scene in your movie. Some scenes will be dramatic, some painful, some joyful. But they are all yours, and together, they make a story worth living. Key takeaways. You are not a side character. Your story belongs to you. Main characters create their own definition of success, instead of following society's script. Failure is not the end of your story. It is a turning point. Boundaries, bold choices, and a strong inner narrative are essential for taking control. Great leaders and innovators became main characters the moment they stopped waiting for permission. Your life is a book, and every day you wake up is another page. Don't hand the pen to someone else. Write your own chapters. Live boldly. Take risks. Speak your truth. And most importantly, remember, you are the main character in your own life. Act like it. If this chapter spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter in this audiobook series. Your journey matters, and your story deserves to be told. And so, we come to the end of this journey together. But remember, your real journey is just beginning. You've learned that focusing on yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. You've discovered the power of discipline, the freedom of detachment, the strength of resilience, and the beauty of becoming the main character in your own life. But knowledge without action changes nothing. The next chapter of your story isn't written in this audiobook. It's written in your daily choices. Every morning when you wake up, you get to decide, will I keep playing small, or will I step into the role I was born to live? Your dreams, your growth, your peace, they matter. Don't let fear, opinions, or comparisons steal the script of your life. Take what you've learned here and use it as fuel to rewrite your future. And as you rise, remember this. Winning doesn't happen in one moment. It happens in the countless choices you make to focus on yourself, until victory is no longer an option, but a reality. Thank you for walking this journey with me. I believe in you. I believe in your story. And I believe that your best chapter is still ahead. If this audiobook inspired you, do me a favor. Like this video, share it with someone who needs this message, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss more content designed to push you closer to the life you deserve. This is your story. This is your time. Focus on you until you win.